Hello, everybody, and welcome to, for the first time in probably quite some several plus months, episode 7 of my Fantasy Fight series. Yeah, it's been that damn long since I did one of these bad boys. Anyways, for this special episode, I decided to give one for this episode, excuse me, I decided to pin together two characters that could definitely put a shock to your system. And those characters are Virgil Hawkins, aka Static Shock from the Dakotaverse slash DC Comics franchise, up against Maxwell Dillon, aka Electro, a classic Spider-Man villain from the Silver Age of comic books. So let's get started. Now, I'm sure many of you guys are familiar with Static Shock from the animated series, which is a part of the DC animated universe. I remember as a kid, growing as a huge fan of that character because of the animated series. I love the way that Phil Lamar voiced the character in that show. I thought he did a tremendous job. I thought the show had so many great episodes, so many great characters, so many good villains, and so forth. So I thought the show was outstanding. But that's just the series. Getting on with the character. The character made his very first appearance in. Hold on one second. I am so sorry. In Static number 1, back in June of 1993, he was created by Dwayne McDuffie, Derek T. Dingle, Dennis Denyys Cohen, and Michael Davis. So yeah, this character has been around since the 1990s, and he is a part of the Milestone. He was originally part of the Milestone Media franchise. So here we go. Let's get started. Virgil Hawkins was born in Parris Island, Dakota City, and was the second child of Robert and Jean Hawkins. His older sister is Sharon. He was close to his uncle Tashon and wanted to be just like him. But his uncle insisted he stay focused on his studies and make something of himself. When his uncle was on for the murders of the Van Heuser family, Virgil knew him to be innocent, would write endless letters to him, different law firms affirmed this, but with very little success. Having a major fear in the rise of gang activity in his area, his family moved to a more safer working class neighborhood of Sadler. He would go on to become friends with Larry Wade in the 5th grade, as well as other people like Chuck Kane, Rick Stone, Felix. In high school, he became friends with a woman who would go on to become his future wife, Frida Goren, Goren. Similar to our boy Peter Parker, at 15 years old, Virgil was bullied for being a social outcast, due to not only to his gifted intellect, but also his interest in comic books, role-playing games, and science fiction. He maintained his friendship with now popular Larry and harbored a crush on Frida, unaware that she was dating Larry. While trying to stand up for Frida, Virgil took a serious beating from Martin Biz Money B. Scapone until Larry stepped in. Hearted immediately one more time, he was given a gun by Larry and encouraged to seek revenge on Martin at the docks during a gang war on Parris Island that night. While he did venture to the docks, he was tempted to murder the guy, but he ultimately could not bring himself to shoot the guy in cold blood. Not after long throwing the gun away, the police arrived and used a special tear gas, believing it to be a radiation marker as a means of tracking gang members in case they try to escape. Unfortunately, the gas served not only to either kill those present or mutate them in the event known as the Big Bang. No offense, no relation to the Big Bang of the one that started off the universe. Exposing the gas while trying to escape, Virgil immediately gained a variety of electromagnetic abilities and managed to flee the chaos by using his powers to levitate on a trash can lid. He then practiced his newfound abilities and, of course, being inspired by his interest in comic books, he decided to become a superhero known by calling himself Static. So yeah, um, so yeah, that's how Virgil Hawkins became. That's how Virgil became a superhero. Man, he became a superhero through some type of gas some type of experimental gas, and that's how he became Static. Now he would go on to fight many villains like Hot Streak, and you know he would also be known as a Bang Baby due to his when I'm sorry, I'm going all over the place here. One of his famous villains, Hot Streak, then he would go on Laser Jet, the Swarm, Commander X, Holocaust. Um, there was a moment where his friend Rick came out as gay, so Virgil had to basically deal with his own homophobia and protect his friend when his arch rival Hot Streak was a known homophobe himself. Um, he would team up with other milestone media characters like Icon, his sidekick Rocket, Hardware, and become a team known as the Heroes, which Static became a reserve member of. There was a moment where a guy like Entity called the Rift, where his universe, the Dakotaverse, and the DC Comics universe became one. He teamed up with Superman, Superboy, Connor Kent, and Steel, John Henry Irons, and they became a fan. They Steel, John Henry Irons, and they defeated the villain, and the worlds were once again split. Then there came a point in time where the DC universe and the Dakotaverse did merge into one. Um, Virgil, while being a part of the DC universe, he would become a member of the Teen Titans. Sorry, I'm just going over the my notes here. I apologize. Um, um, oh, ah, shit. No, wait. I'm sorry. But But yeah, he would go on to become a member of the Titans. He would team up with other characters like Superman, Batman, so forth, especially in the animated series. So that's pretty cool. Hold on, I'm just going over my notes. I'm so sorry about this, everybody. Making sure I'm saying the right things. Um, he would befriend, Blue Beetle, Aquagirl. Um, yeah, so that's pretty damn good about Static. He's a legendary character. He's a legendary, black superhero. Um, especially when it comes to milestone media characters. So yeah, there's that. So here are his powers and abilities. Obviously, he's a bang baby. Was mutated by a genetic altered, explosion, which caused him to adapt usual powers. He can generate electromagnetic energy, which is raw, which he's learned to manipulate, control, and enhance. Superconductive electromagnetism. Static can sense source of electromagnetic energy or objects that can be affected by its such of underground water pipes. He can magnetize and demagnetize metals. He can generate an electromagnetic force field. Just like the Earth and the Sun generate their own electromagnetic fields. He can create barriers and shields that he can use to block, repel, and hold back attacks and defend himself in battle. Mechanokinesis, he can make capable of fixing or operating electronic devices. Through his electromagnetic manipulation, he can operate most devices just by touching, even if they're not plugged in. Electromagnetic levitation, he can cause objects to fly. Metal is the easiest material to manipulate, and wood is the most difficult. Wavelength tunes. Static can hear radio waves, meaning he can listen in on the police, broadband, and music stations, as well as tapping onto the phone into the phone line so he can make calls. He's got some degree of mental resistance. He can amplify his brain capacity. It's necessary to consider both to virtual forms of hypnosis or mind control. It's overcome telepathic assaults of the swarm, avoided mental detection from Miss Martian, and was even to break free of the anti-life equation, a feat originally considered to be impossible. It's got electrokinesis. He can generate electricity from his body and use it in different attacks. He can do electrical displays, electromagnetic force bolts, ball lightning, static cling, and electrical transformation. He can transform his entire body into pure electrical energy. He can turn his static cling. He can adhere most objects or people to surfaces and other objects, plus static and magnetized surfaces. Ball lightning, named after ball lightning, the weather phenomenon. Electromagnetic compression to a large ball thrown at targets, and optimist maneuver in a combat situation. He can project force bolts from his hands or use it to hit, push, pull, or blow away his targets and potentially exerting force to destroy them. Static is very powerful, people. So he has high intelligence. He's a highly gifted student, in particular skills in mathematics, science, and computers. His prowess in science is what allowed him to design and construct a hover disk that he flies on. He possesses an almost fanboy's knowledge of comic books, role-playing games, and science fiction. He has tactical analysis. He's able to apply scientific knowledge in combat in real-life situations and do so also almost intuitively. This allows him a certain advantage over more powerful but less intelligent opponents. He also has learned to speak German for unknown reason and is fluent enough to carry on a simple conversation in the language. That's his ability in multilingualism. There's his static saucer, which he uses to fly in the air for terms of his equipment. As for his weapons, he has static traps, which which is basically a combination of his powers in everyday materials. So yeah, that's Static Shock. Now on to his combatantness. Now this one you guys should definitely know. Should definitely know. He's a classic Spider-Man villain from the Silver Age of comic books. He was created by the legends Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, and that's good old Maxwell Dillon, aka Electro. And he made his very first appearance in the 9th issue of the Amazing Spider-Man, of the original Amazing Spider-Man comics, back in November of 1963. And hold on one second. And he basically became Electro. Now, Maxwell Dillon was your ordinary and he was basically, working for an electric company. He was basically, he was basically working for an electric company. So one day, one of his coworkers got in trouble, and Dillon agreed to save him. However, while he tried, a freak lightning storm hit, caused the lineman to distress to lose his balance and fall to his death. However, Dillon, when he got struck by the lightning, while in contact with the power line still connected to their spool, he gained superpowers. That's right, Maxwell Dillon became Electro when he got struck by lightning. Interesting, huh? This unusually configured magnet generated by the wind speed of cable wire and high wire tension induced a body-wide magnetic change to his nervous system. He basically became a living electrical capacitor, and he decided to become a supervillain called Electro. And since that point, he would go on to become one of Spider-Man's most powerful and most formidable foes for decades. He would even form the Sinister Six along with Dr. Octopus, Sandman, Mysterio, Vulture, Kraven, the Hunter. So he would even go on. Not only would he be able to go on, there was a point in time where he was hired by Dr. Doom to disrupt the wedding of Reed Richards and Sue Storm. When there was even a point where he got defeated by Daredevil when he and his other supervillains created their own team called the Emissaries of Evil. He briefly joined the Frightful Four at one point. Basically he's a classic character. He's been around a long time. He's been around a long time, people. He's been around since 1963 and has been a very powerful character. So here are his powers and abilities. Electrokinesis. He has the ability to generate, store, and manipulate electrostatic energy, which he can use and harness for a number of effects. His body could generate electricity at a rate of about 10,000 volts per minute and up to his maximum torque gravity of 10 million volts. At that point, his body automatically stopped producing energy. As he expends his electrostatic energy, his body automatically begins to recharge the stores. He can mentally control the amount of the electricity discharges from anywhere from a single volt to his full 10,000 volt charge at once. At 10 to 30 feet, his maximum charge was more than enough to kill a man. Electro could use his body as a transformer, touching an outside power source such as a generator and channeling through his body for use. The amount of electricity he could transform above his body's maximum storage capacity is unknown. He could employ electrostatic energy in a number of ways, like lightning bolt projection, electromagnetic propulsion via electric lines and bridges, electrical detection, electrocution. He's got recharging abilities. He can use his electric conversion to amplify his physical attributes. When fully charged, he's able to lift around 500 pounds. He was taught by Dr. Octopus during his stint in prison that he could ionize metals. He could use his powers to disrupt Spider-Man's electrostatic ability to cling on walls. Electro once defeated the Invisible Woman when he created an electrolyzed magnetic storm. This allowed her to compromise the air around her and imprison her in a sheet of rock art Electro of carbon atoms, effectively making a statue out of her. Obviously, he's immune to electricity. And he's got a charging ability. Basically, when it's all said and done, now, according to my research, supposedly his power is so great, he's comparable to Magneto. He even possesses some decent skills in hand-to-hand combat. So, so there you have it. Those are your two combatants. Now, as for the battle itself, this is really interesting. Obviously, you know, both of these guys are very powerful with their electromagnetic, with their electric abilities. But honestly, I would have to give the edge to Static due to his intelligence, due to his superiority in intelligence, and his tactical analysis. But this would be a very interesting fight, in my opinion. But as always, I let you guys decide who takes this fight. Do you think Electro takes it, or do you think Static's got it in the bag? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.